Well, here's a fairly normal scene. It's an incandescent light bulb that is being run off line voltage, and there is the line voltage that it's running off of. Let's put a phase dimmer in there and see what happens. Now, the input to the phase dimmer is simply the line we were seeing before, but what does the output of the phase dimmer look like? So let's take a look at that on the scope. And we can see that we are going to be cutting out a portion of the signal, a portion of the phase. So let's take a closer look at that. I'll throw a box over the bulb. Now, with a patented scientific cardboard box stuck over the bulb, we can see that even with the thing turned full up, there's slight notching. That's because this is a thyristor device. It's a triac dimmer. But you can see it is cutting the leading edge. Now, this sort of thing, and this, here we see a phenomenon called pop-on. I'm turning it up, 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 boom. I get about halfway there. From there I can take it and dim it down. There's dropout. When it drops out about there. With one of these little LED spots on, I have a little LED floodlight on here, medium base, it doesn't look too bad. However, when we go to put it all the way off, you can see that there's a little leakage current coming through the thing, and that is just the brakes. Now, on this board we have 3 LEDs damaged by phase dimming. You can see at least one of them is starting to act up, and after they get warmed up pretty good, they all start to act up, and this is probably from be damaged from phase dimming, because these have integral drivers in their bases. So we're going to take our special guest module here out into the garage. This is a DALI to phase dimming converter module. If you think this is something that's extremely exotic, and this one kind of is, it's European, it takes 240 volts. If you've ever worked with for instance, an Nlight SP5 module that does phase dimming, same kind of deal. It receives a digital signal, and that commands it to do its phase cut dimming to a certain extent. This one will dissipate up to 1.5 watts, and you'll notice it's in a plastic case. Believe it or not, 1.5 watts is a lot. So this needs to be mounted, for instance, flat on a metal surface, maybe with some heat sink compound. This is a 300 watt module, so that's not that heavy duty. 1.5 watts is more heat than you might think. And another thing about these electronic devices is you don't want to get them over 50 degrees C. 50 degrees centigrade is about 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So you want to remember to pay attention to where you're putting stuff like this, ambient temperature wise, as well as airflow wise. Airflow past electronic devices is a great friend to electronic devices. So let's take this out in the garage and see how it works. Well, apparently we picked the right garage to work in today, because here's a spare ganged 20 amp breaker with the operators tied, the handles tied. So we're just going to take our 240 off of there. Further proof that we've come to the right place is presented here, in that this is the only garage in the entire neighborhood that actually has a 230 volt light bulb. So none of the neighbors have one of these. I'm the lucky one. There you go. There's our input voltage to the thing, 244. Kids, don't try this at home. We're going to put the module on there and run it off the temp dimming test, off the DALI test set. Well, this looks pretty scary to me. There's a little switch on here that's supposed to toggle it between on and off. I'm just going to turn it on and let's see what the heck happens. Smoke? What? What do you know? That looks like it's going to be okay. So I'll check the DALI lines, make sure that there's no voltage on them, and then we'll hook them to the test set, and off we go. Okay, everything looked relatively safe, so let's power it back up and see if our DALI controller controls anything. Well, what do you know? Look at that. Isn't that just a wonderful thing? How about the slide dimmer? Oh yeah, there you go. So that is a DALI to phase control converter, 220 to 240 volt European style. I think we'll stick a light meter on this and I'll take a few readings for you. So taking a few readings: 208, 162, 111, and about a 57. And of course, off and on. And here we can see our big thick green line that is the phase dimmer response out in the garage using that 230 volt incandescent bulb, and it looks very, very good. So once again, if you have a digital dimmer module or ballast, you would probably expect that you're going to get pretty close to the numbers that you have commanded it to go to. And I believe that concludes our little DALI thing for now.